I've always been serious about youth work from day one, but I think because I lived in Moss Side and that lived experience of always seeing young people going down the wrong path. There were times where, say for example, like drive-bys would happen and I'm like there and I'm like, I've had to duck down, but I've had to I think over time I've had to like really like understand that this is serious.
1992, my mama had me in July. I was raised in Bricky, wish she raised me in Dubai. Started having fights, I think I started at age 9. Started doing crime, I started stealing all the time. I was stealing from the
Kemoy, thank you for coming on, brother.
You're welcome. It's been a while.
Yeah, it has been a while. And it's funny because I was saying the other day, most of the podcasts I usually start with, we've been trying to get this one together for a while. And it's literally, most of the time, like, I struggle to get people on. We're all doing our own thing, like, yeah, we'll get on this day, we'll get on this day, and it never goes ahead. But with Kemoy, he didn't even realize he was coming to sit down with me. I've known this guy for many years, met him at the door again, and then he's like, I didn't realize I was sitting down with you. So, Kemoy, so for the people watching maybe, just tell them a bit about what you do.
So I do a lot of things. It's always hard when someone always say to me, like, introduce yourself. I always think about, like, what's the main thing for me. So obviously my daytime job has been for a long time, 17 years. I work in a school in the day, and then in the evening I do youth work. Same time I got into both. It's about 17 years I've given to youth work as well as school. And then I do the best job in the world, which is DJing.
DJ Kemoy B.
I'm a DJ, I've been a DJ for 21 years, it will be this year. I started when I was 12, 30, around there.
Really? See, I didn't know that either.
Yeah, man, these were the days when garage, this was when I used to come around this area, and it used to be garage, and then funky house time. That was the time where them music was
the best.
Like, the best.
The best. If all them jumpy type of music, that's my favourite garage and that, to be fair.
I remember I just used to walk into to like people's houses, and the vibe was just that deep that I used to just be coming in skanking. But I remember I just used to have that reputation where I was just the hype. Like everybody wanted me at their party back in the day, and it was like, if Kemoy's coming, you know the party's gonna be lit. So I remember I used to roll. I remember people used to promote that I'm coming, that there'll be loads more people. Right, Kemoy's there, right, I'm gonna come. And that's how the vibe used to be. Like I just used
lively.
to, and that's how I got into DJing after. So it was hype man first, and then later on I'd be like, right, I need to start doing DJing because I'm creating like energy wherever I was going.
There's a gift that can't be taught, that one. You've got that one or you've not. You've got it, true. Like you can walk in and not everyone's got that. Like, do you know what me?
And that's for years, you know.
Yeah, bro, for a long time, you've been doing it. You don't realize until sometimes you chop it up with someone, you think, wait, how long?
Yeah.
How long again?
Yeah.
One of my biggest fears, bro, when I don't really rap anymore, was I don't like stage, bro. I've never told people to make some noise in case they didn't. Yo, it crosses my mind. Yo, man, make some noise, and no one did.
I know,
bro. Like, so I'm not good on stage.
See, we do that often, though, you know, as DJs. I mean, I've never seen a time where that's not worked for me, but I've remembered some DJs and artists where they've done that and nobody says anything.
This is what I mean.
And I'm like looking at the other person, like,
bro, that's soul destroying.
Yeah, it is. It can be. I think there's a skill with that as well.
There is.
I think I approach hosting and DJing in a way that always gets people to interact. And I do, but I don't know, sometimes it'd be like, I'm giving away money tonight. So the best hyper or the best person that I've seen the crowd giving me the vibe. And the minute you say that, everyone's like on it then. They're watching you because they're seeing that, right, he's going to give me money, right? And then that's when you go, right, everyone in there make some noise. And that's when everyone wants to impress you, like, right,
there's an art to it, of course, man. It's confidence as well. If you go on that stage with confidence, they feed off your energy, though. If you go up there timid, they think, what's this guy on?
And then what you find is a lot of artists in the past, I've seen them do it, they've gone on there and they've cussed the crowd. So the crowd's lost faith in them already. I've seen it happen so many times where they're like, you lot are dead.
Yeah, you can't do that, man. Come on, man.
Yeah, well, the minute you say that to a crowd is the minute you've lost them. They're not interested.
You're insulting them?
Yeah.
It's not a good way to. It's a way to open up.
Not
Definitely not. So DJing first. So that's. It's funny because you know what? As long as I've known you, obviously, DJ Kemoy, it's DJ Kemoy. Being it comes to mind when I see something. But my first thought with you is youth worker. What you do for the community. So like even now when it's like let's get Kemoy on a podcast, I didn't think let's go into DJing. That wasn't even.
You forgot about that.
Because you do. It's like you come here and was thinking, Sam's a rapper. Nah, podcast host now, man.
See, I didn't know that bit. Do you see what I'm trying to say? So it's interesting how people view, because there's a lot of people that will see me that will think like teacher, then some people see me and go community worker for years, and then some people will look at me and go DJ, like I've known this guy DJ. It was my DJ, and now he's the person's like, and I don't know. Do you know what I mean? But I was their DJ when they were like growing up.
Crazy.
Do you know what I mean? It's funny how things work out.
So all right then. So let's put that into like a storyline. So you started out DJing.
Yes.
You've obviously carried on with that throughout your career, if you like. Is that more of a hobby, would you say?
Yeah. So
First love.
DJing, it could be full time for me if I wanted it to, but like I would say like I preferred keeping it as a hobby because it was like my downtime. You know, you have a stressful...
It's important.
Yeah, stressful time in youth work or in the school, working in the school. Like you need to find that well-being for yourself or that thing that settles you. And I find that with DJing, because it's a lot of energy. I find that when I'm doing it, I'm like, wow. You know what I mean? It's for me, it's the best thing,
Music, it's for the soul, as they say.
Yeah, definitely.
So what come first then? Was it the youth work or the teaching?
So when I first came here from Jamaica, because I came here in 2002 when I was 11.
Yeah.
So when I came here just in time for year 7. With what was going on in Moss Side at the time, so went to school 2002, year 7, 2006, that's when we lost Jesse.
Okay.
In Moss Side in the park. I realised from that time, because I was always going to the youth club myself. So year 7, I was always going to Powerhouse all the way throughout. Youth workers helped me. And throughout my time going to the Powerhouse, going on trips, seeing youth workers that look like me, you know, we hear stuff like that. You know, if you have people that, your role models that look like you as well, that helps with your aspiration.
Of course.
And I think growing up, I had that around me. So when we lost Jesse, I kind of thought to myself, you know what, a lot needs to be done. So I realised I want to become a youth worker. So I started then, but in between then and the years before then, I was always just a person full of energy. I think Jamaica, we were always dancing, hyping, vibing, partying. So I felt like...
It's in that culture, innit, to just be energetic and have a good time, and of course it is.
I've always felt like being in school, I was always energetic, bringing the life, the hype, the energy, and people just used to feed off that. So I thought, I can bring all of this into youth work. And make it work, and that's what I did. And then when we lost Jesse, I decided to do a bit more extra youth work in Moss Side at the time. And then what's worked out for me perfectly and beautifully is because of my DJing and the hype, people already knew of me. So when I was a youth worker and people were like struggling to like get young people involved in stuff, it was easy for me to do that because people knew Kemoy B. You see, the brand was already there, so it was very easy for people to, man, I want to work with Kemoy. Yeah, man, this guy's a good DJ, you know, like, you know. And so
of course.
I felt I always had my way in because of that. You see what I mean? So everything worked hand in hand.
Yeah.
And the same with school, like, because a lot of the kids came to the Powerhouse or they'd see me DJing at Carnival, and so I'd walk in the school, there's Kemoy, you know, and that. You see what I'm saying? So then education for me was like a lot easier because then the kids knew who I was. They knew me from Carnival and DJing there. So then when I started at the school, that was a bonus as well. So they knew I'm a DJ, so it's nothing new.
No, I get
There's
that level of respect there as well.
Yes, it's been there for years from the young people in the area because they see how hard I've grafted over the years to do what I'm doing.
Of course, because starting out as a teacher or a youth worker, that must be so hard to go in and get the respect of young'uns.
Yeah.
You know what you like at that age.
Yeah.
No matter what estate you come from, kids will be kids, young teens will be teens. That's just, we've all been there. And you remember a new teacher starts, or you come across a new youth worker. It's just like, see what this guy or this girl's made of then. It's like you almost want to test them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And they do test us.
Oh,
I'm
yes,
telling you,
they do.
They do over the years. I've had some testing, but you know what? I'd never change jobs. Like literally, I've been a youth worker for a long time. All the roles that I've done, like I've done for a very long time. And when people look and go, like I've had enough now, I've given up, or I'm ready to retire, or I'm ready to do this. Like for me, I'm still very much in it. I'm still very much like energetic. I'm still very much wanting to do more because of what I see that I can do.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
At the drive's
that's
there.
the bonus,
the
because there's so many people out there craving to do like youth work and and have a good youth club, and a lot of people don't. And with what I've created in an area like Moss Side, where people always talk bad about it, it's outstanding. Like the young people that come are just like...
It's recognised, man, for anyone I speak to, like, if we get on that topic, your name is always spoke of, high regard, like, this Keem, what you do is well respected. And
that's good to hear that, because, like I said, I've had obviously challenges through youth work, but I think, like you said, reputation is important. And I think I've always tried to show people that my hard work and everything I've done and places I've gone, I've always spoke about the work that I do with young people to try and let people understand and try and also motivate themselves to do it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because I always say we need more youth workers, more people joining that field of youth work, because it's a great job, but you need the right people.
Of course you do. It's like sometimes they almost want to relate to you. Me going back to being like in youth centres and stuff, for, you know, the way I'd look at youth workers, if there was, I'd need to see something. I'd need to relate to something. It don't have to look like me, but I just need to feel that, you understand. If we've got that, then I think you've got a bit of building blocks there now, other than saying, do you know when it's the whole, we all know right from wrong from early age, so let's not even go down that route. Kids know right from wrong, young teens know right from wrong. So when you start trying to tell them what not to do, it's like, I feel like you've lost my attention. I know what not to do, but I'm still going to go and do it, even though I know it's wrong. So it's like it's a fine art for you to be, I think, again, some things can't be taught. I know these courses are now for youth work, but it comes down to you as a person as well. Yeah,
see, for me, a lot of it was life experience. So I didn't have a qualification up until 2015, was when I went to college. And the only reason I went and got qualification was because the job that I was in at the time was saying, oh, we can't pay you youth worker wage unless you've got the qualification or you've got proof to show you're doing it. And they knew the work I was doing.
It's mad, innit? Qualifications, I mean, they look good on paper, but again, it doesn't mean you're any good at your job. Life experience is definitely more important.
And I think because I had that, I already was there. But I think for a lot of people, it was like, you need to go and do youth work. And the minute I do it, nobody cares. You know, the minute you do your qualification, the minute you go and do a degree, like I've done it all, but then it's like, nobody asks after that.
Yeah, because like you can always put it on your CV, you're not going to have to for proof anyway.
I'm like, I can't tell when last I've had to tell somebody I went to university or I got a level 3 in youth work. Like, no one seems to, that matters now, but I feel like it's one of them where when you're hungry and when I wanted to do a lot of the stuff, people are like, you need to go and get qualified. And I'm like, but stuff are happening now.
Yeah,
I need to do stuff now.
You need to go. Yeah. With obviously the area we come from as well, it's like you need to, things are moving fast. Yeah. So someone like yourself, you need to be present. Yeah. It is a job. It's not just a stand in a youth club and get paid and play pool with the boys or the young girls. It's like, there is a big responsibility if you want to be good at your job as a youth work, which I know you do. You know, there's a lot to it. You got to keep your ear to the curb. You need to know what's going on around you, man.
It's like you said, it's everything in youth work and just life. It's a skill. Like, you've got to be skilled up on yourself, like on just how things work and how it works with young people. And I think for me, just for many years, like I think growing up now, I realised like a lot of the youth workers that were doing youth work with me, like they were always like, oh, you need to go and do your level 1, or we can't let you do this until you get your qualification. And I always thought, but I was doing more than them. Yeah. You know what I'm trying to say? I remember we were doing like debate club and group sessions where I was the one leading them because I brought the people in. I was doing all this, and then I was thinking, a lot of them were just chilling, the youth workers, and then I thought to myself, like, yeah, man, I just thought, you know what? Let me go and do my thing. And that's when I had to kind of make some difficult decisions to go, right, you know what? I need to go out there now and like create my own thing. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I understand.
And that's what I had to do.
Do you think with that course though and going to uni, did you actually take anything from it where you say, you know what, a couple of points, so nothing,
I already knew it.
Just a piece of paper basically?
Do you know what it is? That course for me was conversation. Because everyone on the course were new to youth work or they wanted to become youth workers, so it was a chance for me to just share experience.
You became the teacher basically.
Yeah, because when we were going through the course content, I was like, I know that. So the minute we started getting to discussions, I was always the bright student in the class that was always like, yep, this is the reason why trauma happens or this happens and you just there was stuff that they were just talking about that I just knew. So I'd always be the person who finished early.
Yeah,
you know, the ones that finished early that was ready to go because I was done. Like there was nothing coursework wise that I didn't know. And yeah, man, it was good. I felt like I was a mentor, a coach, because people would come into me and they're like, Kemoy, like, have you done this unit? And I'm like, yeah, I've done it. And they're like, right, can you help me with it? And you see what I'm trying to say?
Nothing changed then, but you're basically back in the youth centre then.
Yeah, just felt like a life coach throughout my life, honestly, just helping everybody along the way.
There's a word for that. What's the word when people are they just warm towards you? They feel like they can confide in you. Is it empathy? Maybe empathy. There's a full word for it. You know when people just feel, even sometimes you might not have the greatest advice, but they just feel good talking to you.
I know what you mean. It's oh gosh.
It's not empathy, is it?
It's not empathy.
It's a word though, isn't it?
Yeah. People just gravitate towards you, innit?
Yeah, I don't know.
I know there's a word.
There is a specific word in it.
Yeah.
To take it back a bit, and it's a little bit more of a bit more serious. But
yeah.
I just think, because I remember the time, we'll go back to Jesse. Do you think that was a bit of a point in your, when you're getting into youth work and that? Do you think the Jesse thing kind of locked you in more? Because I know you was very close with Jesse.
Yeah, it definitely did. I think for me, I've always been serious about youth work from day one, but I think because I lived in Moss Side and that lived experience of always seeing young people going down the wrong path. There were times where, say for example, like drive-bys would happen and I'm like there and I'm like, I've had to duck down, but I've had to I think over time I've had to like really like understand that this is serious. And for change to happen, there need to be more youth workers that can really drive change. And that's where I realised I needed to take it serious. And I did, and I thought Jesse was kind of like the last straw. I've lost somebody who was in the same year as me, who was going in year 11 that year. So it was September 2006, where we were going into year 11, and we'd leave school in 2007. And I was like, this is too young. I'm in year 11. I'm like, I never thought the day I'd lose somebody at age like that.
Especially in that manner as well.
And I thought from then it was like, right, enough is enough now. Like, I need to do something.
Yeah.
And that's when my journey started. I was like, you know what, I need to. And you know what, funnily enough, when Jesse died, I organised these memorial events every year since then. So I remember when it happened, it was still very fresh. And the year it was his birthday, or the next year, I got in touch with the family and I said, look, this is what I want to do. Got in touch with friends, and when I said the turnout was mad, but I started to do stuff like that more for the community where people could get together. Because what I felt was, and I think this is where now it's probably gone worse, was when we lost somebody, what used to happen was people just used to mourn in their own ways and in their own environment, and no one would see each other because people are mourning. Whereas I felt like I was saying, you know what, guys, let's mourn together. And I was bringing everyone together, family, friends, everybody together in one space where we could cry together, and that's what was happening. It was all very fresh, so we were all crying together. You know, there was poems, speeches, performances, but people could be in a space where everyone was together.
That's nice, man, to mourn together, to speak, to share memories, and because it's not nice being on your own in that. You know, if you're going through something like that, you don't want to be alone. Maybe some people do, but it's nicer if you can bring it together as well. And that's that community feel as well.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted. I felt for me, it was all about community cohesion, bringing people together. And I felt that was what I was good at massively back then, where it was like, this happened, right, let's do a call out. And back then, because it was BBM days, it was easier to send a broadcast.
Yeah.
And the broadcast will go to everybody, and it's like, everybody will be there, literally. And that's how it used to be. Like, it used to be great, man. I loved how things were, especially back then, in terms of anything that would happen would bring everybody together. And whether it's celebration or mourning or whatever it was, like, it was great. People would just come together in Moss Side back then.
See that there, when you say that, just go again, when you say DJing, bringing people together, that's your nature, that's who you are. Not everyone can pull that off, so that's maybe that. Do you feel like this is your calling, what you do?
Yeah, I've always said that to people, you know. I said, living in Jamaica, obviously I'm very religious in terms of being a Christian. So living in Jamaica, I was always like in church and stuff, but I felt like that was something that was given to me, like, you need to go to the UK and you need to go and do this piece of work. And I just felt like I come here and it was just natural.
So natural.
I just felt like, when I always think, what else could I have, what else would I do? And I just think, this was me. I've always wanted to be a leader in something, but just always thought, what? And I thought when I came here and seen youth work, I thought, rah, I love the way my youth workers were. They were leading, there was trips, right? We're organising this, Kemoy, I want you to do this. And I always felt like I was a young volunteer at the time that was like a young leader that was like doing stuff and people would listen. I'd be like calling for people to come and have debate sessions and they come in. I'd be calling for people to come and to events and they'd be coming, like literally. And then people used to say to me that you like the Pied Piper. I'd literally like be wandering somewhere and 100 people are behind me. Like literally, like I just
a leader, man.
The way how it worked,
it's very natural, like you say.
It was mad. Honestly, like I'd go places and literally I'd have people just following behind me, and that's how it used to be. But I was leading in a good way. Which was what back then was very positive. Like people was like, yeah, man, I see what Kemoy is doing, I like it, and people would follow me.
So you see what you've got. Imagine you had that and you came here and you wanted to be on the other side of that.
I know, I always said that to people.
Being from my side as well.
Yeah, and I always say to people, look, it's easy. If I wanted to now, I could go out there and go and join a gang.
Of course.
It's very easy to do these things, you know what I mean? But it's all about you as a person and what aligns with you, like you were saying before, what aligns in it. Like, for me, being a good person was always something that was me. Yeah. You know what I mean? When I know that I could just switch and go and do that the next day if I wanted to, but I've always wanted to be somebody good who makes a difference. It's
rewarding as well.
Yeah, 100%. And I see the rewards in many ways, like whether it's through the relationships I've built with people that they've gone, Kemoy, here's some funding there, go and take these young people to Nando's or go and take these young people on a trip residential. Like I find that because of the work that I've done, a lot of people want to work with me, for example, or a lot of people will be like, do you know what, we know what Kemoy does, so we want to support him. Like the other day, we had some visitors that came to the youth club to come and see us. And one of the things they seen, they loved it. They were like, wow, this guy is doing some good pieces of work, so we're going to give him some money.
Nice.
And this was just the other day, and it's because, again, people come out. I always say to people, come see what we do. And because they come out and see it, it's a perfect opportunity for them to go, you know what, I love what he's doing, let's give him some funding.
Because you need funds for what you do to be able to make a change. There's only so much you can do naturally, but it's, money does make a difference. It's not the be all and end all, because if you wasn't the way you are and you got a load of money, you might not spend it in the right way anyway, so it's definitely... You're definitely the right man to be, the right youth club, the right man. But it's mad. It's a gift, bro. I've said it before. It's a gift. It's a gift.
For
people
many
follow.
years, honestly, like I just think about it sometimes, and I just think, you know what, I'm proud, man. I'm proud.
You should be.
Yeah.
You should be very proud of yourself.
And for me, I always say this to people because a lot of people will be like, you should get an MBA. You should be whatever.
I was going to say that in a minute.
No, I feel like I'll be honest with you. Like I just love what I do. I think the more. It's good to be recognised, but I also think there's that element of if people see that you're getting all these things. What I've had from people in the past is a lot of people would think the way how I am now, I would have changed and become this person that don't know people or be that type. And I always say to people, look, like I am who I am. Like for me, it's never about awards, and so I just love what I do, and I'll always be that person, regardless where I end up. Like that, just want to give back and help.
Yeah, it's the best way to be, man. If you're doing something for a reward, it can kind of be, I feel like tunnel vision's not always a good thing, innit? You're just driving for that specific, and you can lose yourself if you don't reach it, or when you do get it, and then it's on to the next one. Do you know what I mean? So yours is pure, it's from the heart. I'm not saying anyone a lot of people have got them, and theirs is pure as well, but I feel like yours is just, it's what aligns with you. Sorry, but I'm just looking at this. I've knocked the timer off. Can you keep your eye on the camera, please? Going back to, bro, where you mentioned things are happening now, when you're talking about getting the uni degree and stuff. Happening now, I know you're referring back to what's happening. It's crazy on the roads right now for the young ones, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
So we're talking like the Mossad community and stuff and what's happening within that area. Can you sort of shed some light on the history of Mossad and sort of where we're up to now? Because I know it's Mossad had its bad stages, and there's positive and negatives with every estate.
Yeah.
But I know the media likes to destroy
They
Mossad.
love it. They love it. Yeah,
When there is a lot of good that comes out of
yeah.
it, there's good and bad in a lot of estates. But are they just using that from how it's the name it got many years ago, and then just sticking with that narrative? Do you think that's what it is?
Yeah, I think a mixture. I think obviously with the reputation it's had in the past, they've continued to try and use that. And I think sometimes not everything's factual, because there's been a lot of times actually where we've spoken to the media about the things that they've written about Mossad to correct the stories and stuff. So we're always on it now. I think they're not used to us as a community, because we're very much like that in Mossad now. I think we've had enough of people doing that. So what we'll do is sometimes we're in like a group chat, a group where we'll talk about some things that are posted about Mossad, and then it'll be like, right, this isn't true. Then we'll contact the MEN or the newspaper and we'll be like, right, this isn't factual. And then sometimes what you'll have is they'll redact it, or they'll be like, you know what, we've double checked some things and we've corrected it. So this is what you'll have all the time. And I think Mossad just needs a bit of peace now. I feel like for years it's just been one of them where it's just always been known as that area where it's a no-go area. When I came here from Jamaica, obviously I came here not knowing nothing about Mossad, not knowing anything about even the UK until I came and lived here. It was summer, it was nice. So one of them was like, you know what, I'm happy I'm here. And then I think a couple of days or a couple of weeks following me being here, that's when I started to see things in Mossad, and I was like, what is this? Well, I mean, when you're from a different country, all of this is new, so I'm learning. I'm like, I'm seeing guys rolling on bikes, and I'm seeing knives, I'm seeing guns, this is what I was seeing at the time when I first come here. But I didn't understand it. I didn't know if this was something that was, I don't know, part of something, because I didn't know. And it was, I think, when I started to speak to people from Mossad, they were telling me about the area and the reputation.
And what year was that again?
This was like 2002.
2002.
But there was stuff going on probably before then, because when I was speaking to people, they were saying things were happening before
then. A rich
then.
history in the Moss, innit?
Yeah, but 2002 era time, I'd say was when like there was a lot of stuff still happening. But I think I could see from that point that it was calming down from what I was hearing way before 2002. But there was a lot going on then, and that was kind of like the history of Mossad, where it was gun violence, knife crime. And I think at the time, Mossad was going through a lot. Do you know what I mean? And I could say then, obviously there was a lot happening then. But when I look at the changes in terms of becoming a youth worker and then seeing a lot of justice, as well as people changing, that's when the community started to change. And I think Jesse, 2006, that opened up a lot of people's eyes, that changed a lot of people. A lot of people moved out the area. That's what's happened over the years as well.
Weren't he like the youngest at the time?
He was the youngest at the time. I can't think of anyone who was younger.
Yeah, I'm sure it was like he was the youngest that we lost to gun crime at the time, because it was a peak time for that, just you know, gangs and stuff. But I remember 100%. That was like I feel like everyone halted like, okay, wow, this is a bit different now.
Yeah. I think from then it really got not just people, but the community thinking, the youth workers thinking. We were all like, I'm talking as a friend, but also being a youth worker in the powerhouse, it got us all thinking. I remember youth workers had to meet and at an emergency meeting to talk about Jesse and to talk about gun crime at the time and what are we doing. And I suppose from the back of that, following the memorial, there was regular conversations that we were having with young people about Mossad. And I remember we did some documentaries and little bits of videos that's still up on YouTube.
Still up. I've seen bits of them. You've got to dig deep in YouTube, but they are there.
Yeah, they are there, that we've done, where we've got youth voice and we've got young people to talk about their experiences of Mossad. And there was a lot that came from it in terms of what people were saying and how they think people view them because they came from Mossad. So we did a lot of work. Like, it wasn't easy, but we've done a lot of work around, I call it changing the stereotypes of Mossad. I even got involved in a project where there was like 12 of us and we became ambassadors of Mossad, where we went round everywhere and we're telling people about Mossad and trying to change like outdated stereotypes. So we've done some bits, you know, not been no joke, we've done some serious work on Mossad.
It's just recently I found some of them videos.
Yeah.
What was my one called from? is he called Soldier from OT? The older one, not the younger one. He's been speaking on a couple of them. You know him.
I hear you. I don't know him well, but I know of him.
You don't really see him anymore, but I've seen something with him, and he was some familiar faces, and he's speaking to her.
Yeah.
A lot of people
did that on purpose.
Yeah, giving them scenarios that have happened, and basically saying, I'm not in a gang and this happened. You know what I mean? And just eye-opening.
Yeah, I think what's happened is a lot of people now, I know it's been a while, but a lot of people now have realised and come together now to kind of go, look, what are we doing? Why have we not been doing this earlier? So a lot of the man them who probably were involved back in the day, but also a lot of the parents, man them, and a lot more people who kind of just thought, you know what, we've been around this area for a long time, but we've not contributed. You know what I mean? Which is a good thing. It's a good reflection to think, man. You know what?
There comes an age and a time when it's like, we need to...
man, we need to... Kemoy and team, and it's not just Kemoy, I'm just saying like there's loads of other youth workers and great people doing stuff, but a lot of people have been thinking, we're letting these guys doing it all by themselves. Like, what are we doing? The elders are thinking, what are we doing? Why are we not like doing more or doing better? And I think that's where a lot of it's been like lately, like a lot of self-reflection from a lot of people where they're like, do you know what, we should be doing more.
I think it must come a time as well, even if you've been on the roads, obviously, it almost becomes a duty once you get to a certain age now to you can't just sail off into the sunset. You're still around, man, although you might not walk that path anymore. It becomes a duty because you, in a way, paved the way for these young ones. You was part of that path. You assisted in how they are. Don't take accountability if you don't want, but you are. Because we, as young ones, we're following off from something that was happening present. You know what I mean? It's just, a lot of it just carries on from the generation before. So now it's a duty, man. You need to speak to some of the young ones and tell them some of your stories. Not like you're trying to glamorize it, but you speak to them.
You see, for me, I'm trying to do that a lot more now. I feel like now I've got some personal experiences now with it. I feel like when I go and do assemblies in other schools, for example, I really talk to them and they listen, you know. You'd be surprised, like some of the teachers said, I remember going to a school, one teacher said, I've never seen the kids like that before. She was like, you really got them to listen. And I think it's because I was just real with them. I started off every assembly just saying, look, like what I'm about to talk to you about is very, very serious. And like, I want you to understand that it's not easy for me to even come and talk to this. I said, I'm always honest. I said, look, if you're going to be rude or disrespectful, I said, now's the time to leave the assembly. Because I said, I'm about to touch on a topic that it'll make me really angry and find disrespectful if people are talking or being rude during it. And when I say silent, them silent. And they're listening. And somebody always said to me, Kemoy, you need to do this more. You need to go out and do more stuff in schools. And it's made me think, like, I could do more. And maybe that's what I need to do. Maybe I need to start doing some workshops and consultancies with schools where I'm going in and I'm talking about things like knife crime, I'm talking about things like gang culture, gangs, and just topics that I know is hot out there at the moment. You know, grooming. There's so many things going on with our youth at the moment. And to be fair, or to be honest, it's been going on whilst I've been doing youth work from young, but it just never was highlighted. So things like we also talk about bad role people who were bad role models who would encourage young people back in the day to do stuff. And, you know, I was looking at that as when I was growing up and seeing man them who were like doing things and I'm like, you know what? I like, you know, I look up to him because he was on it. He was like, everyone respected him or that person. And I was like, you know what? Wow, I want to be like that. And I think when you're a youth growing up and seeing that, that's your aspiration.
Of course.
But
it's cool. If it's cool, it might be negative, but you forget the negative. You just latch on to what's cool in it. If he gets all the attention, if he gets all the girls, if he's got the nice cars, then you follow suit. And that's where that grooming that comes into it because I don't know if they realise at the time what they're doing because although they seem older, they're young themselves. When you're a young teen, the guys you're looking at, they're probably early 20s. But you feel like they're clearing, it's mad how it's like. Now you look at some people, you'll get to that age and you think, I thought you was a lot older at the time. I'm still you. You know what I mean? You would have looked at someone in their 30s like they was finished. So they're young themselves, so I don't think they understand that it's a grooming thing. They're just thinking, come, I'll sort this out for you. You do this. It's just part of the roads and that pattern, which is sad.
Yeah, I think it's when, and this is what I mean about going to college and university. I think when I just when I get myself educated on a lot of these things, because obviously growing up and you're thinking, I never heard about grooming. I never heard about this, never heard about that. And it's as I'm doing my courses and degree and stuff, like I'm hearing these things and I'm thinking, rah, all of them things happened to me when I was younger, but I just never thought this is what it was.
Of course,
so then when you're looking and you're deep in it and you're thinking, this is happening now to young people I know, because you're seeing it, you're seeing them chilling with older people, you're seeing them doing the odd jobs here and there, and you're thinking, this is what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
But to young people, they don't see it as that because, you know what, I'm going to get you a new phone, just go and do that for me over there. I'll go and do that. And to young people, it's like, I'm getting an incentive, so I'm just going to go and do that without knowing that this is what it is.
It's the word groom. You link it to paedophilia and stuff like that. You don't think of you got a trapper on the estate. You take that back, little man. Do you want to work this phone for me? This is grooming, innit? There's no difference. I can keep this back. Of course you can. You work that phone for me, or even just giving him the phone and paying him a small wage. It's the same difference. It's mad, innit?
Yeah.
But it's because of the word we look at. We look at a bigger thing for it and not the small things.
Yeah. For a lot of those people, they wouldn't know that that's the word for it. I think there's a lot of obviously people who are still in the game doing a lot of this stuff who are just they're street smart, but not educated smart. There's a difference. Yeah.
Of course there is.
When you go to university, being somebody who's lived in an area like Moss Side and I've gone off to educate myself to just learn more, I'm now more clued up. So I know when I'm in these meetings, safeguarding meetings and stuff, I know what I'm saying. But for a lot of these people who are still in the game, they wouldn't know some of the things they're doing and the impact and what they're doing because they've just been doing it.
Yeah,
is what I'm trying to say. It's when you realise and you're old and you're a bit more educated on it, you're like, rah, like, I can't believe this is what I was like growing up and thinking that this is cool.
Yeah. And I think there'll be some man that have grown up. But I've been that age myself and I've been a little bit older than the young ones. I've been the young one. Guilty of stuff myself, bro. I'm not gonna say it like I'm a saint, you know what I mean, as you know. But it just comes an age now where you need to reflect, take some accountability, hold your hands up and say, right, let me flip this now. Let me try to help some of the young ones where I can, it's quite easy to go into that, where we come from, bro. It's quite easy to go down that path. And sometimes I sit back with some of my friends that are around me now and I say, you know what, sometimes we need to reflect. We're quite fortunate to even be having this conversation. Do you know what I mean? Like to make it out to the other side. Because I sit here sometimes in the studio and I think, you've done all right, man. Although I might think I'm not where I want to be, I think I should be quite grateful, really, because it could have come. Just to have a mature head on my shoulders now, I should be thankful for, because there's some people, like friends I grew up with, people I've known of, and I think you are literally trapped. Your mind's not matured, you've not matured. Is it down to you, or are you genuinely just trapped now? Like, have you tried to make that conscious decision, or are you just stuck?
That's a good point.
Do you know what I mean?
It's a good question. I think this is the thing in it with the world and how it is, in terms of there's a lot of people where they might come of that opinion that they are stuck. You know what I mean? And they can't get away from it. And some people genuinely can't. Yeah. Where they're involved in that and they don't see no way out. And I suppose if it's something where you've got family, it's a family thing and
gets a bit harder there, doesn't it?
That's what I mean.
100%
yeah,
it does.
Because in a family where you've got everybody involved in things like that, you don't want to be seen as you're going to university.
No, there's pressure on you. There's a lot on you,
all
man.
these things. Yeah, do you know what I mean? So
I get
you
that.
you feel pressured that you have to live up to the family legacy. That's what I mean. There's a lot.
It's sad, really, isn't it? Because there's a lot of potential
sad
in some of these young lads and young girls as well. They think, I know why you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
I know also what you're capable of in other sectors, and it's a shame to see it go to waste.
And we tell them, we do try and tell them, like, look, like, you're talented, go and do this, but again, they're going home and hearing a different voice, aren't they?
And some people are just full of excuses.
Yeah, that's true too, yeah.
Just excuses.
Yeah.
Have conversations with some of my friends, you know, associates, past friends, you know, you get little reunions. It's easy for you, man, and, you know, you've got a job, or, you know, I've come from this, or I've got this. I was like, bro, Agency, man, quite easy. Get yourself a CSCS card is what I say to some of the boys. Just get a CSCS card, bro. Ring an agency. Nah, it's not that straightforward. I'm like, listen, it's that straightforward.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
You don't want to do some hard work.
Yeah, that's what it is, you know. It comes down to that.
It's that, I'm not going to work for someone else. And sometimes when I break it down, let's do your hours. Because you're working what you're working. You're making your money. Like, let's do your hours. Me and my missus was talking about it the other day. Like, imagine some of these trappers, people that don't know, broke down the hours they put in. Because they say, yeah, but I'm easy, man. I'm nice. I make this much a week. But you don't switch off. Do you go 9 to 5 or do you do round the clock? See,
for me, round the clock.
I mean them, but you genuinely, but at least you know when the door knocks, it's the postman.
Yeah.
You know when you factor into these, I spoke to some of the young lads and a man of my age and I make this much a week, I'm like, all right then. Can you put a price on stress? When that door knocks, is it an Amazon delivery? Is it a postman? I know who's knocking on my door, do you? Because I remember that feeling. It's not a nice feeling. You almost wake up in the morning. You don't need an alarm clock. It's like, I need to get up.
Yeah.
Even if you're constantly doing things wrong, but even if you've, in a way, not done anything because there's no alarm bells ringing, it's like, you can't relax. You don't switch off. You're constantly on the go because you don't work a 9 to 5. You know, when you clock out work, you know, downtime until the next day. So if you calculate all them hours, what are you on an hour, really?
It's true.
You're not on much. You're not on much, bro. Do you know what I mean?
No, it's true. It's true.
So when I have conversations with some of my friends and, you know, some of the young ones, I'm like, bro, it's not all it's cracked up to be, this grafting and being on the roads and that. You think it is because you can see quick money, but let's do the math now. Get the calculator out and hurt your feelings.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think what I think as well, I always think, what are you doing with your life?
Yeah,
you know,
where you going with it? Have you got any aspirations? Have you got a goal?
Like what you've been doing for a long time.
Yeah.
But what's next? Like, are you actually gonna work on improving your life, family? You know, you just think sometimes that a lot of these guys are just out there on the road and they're just doing that every day.
I don't think they have that, some of them don't have that forward thinking and it can, maybe I think a lot of people get to a set age, you know, when that sort of, you get to, you call it a bit of a midlife crisis or whatever, it sort of hits and you think, ooh. I tell loads of people, yo, shoebox money's finished, credit score is so much more valuable. If I've got a very good credit score, not much cash, and you've got loads of cash and no credit score, I'm more powerful than you. I can go get the car and the house and stuff because they trust me to be able to pay it back. They're going to say, I don't trust you, you ain't got a credit score. You try rolling somewhere with a load of money, you can't even buy a car cash like that now. They've still got to do checks. So it's important to understand this. As my missus says, it's monopoly. You have to play the game, don't you? But yeah, man, it is sad because you see it yourself with some people. You have these conversations and you just...
And sometimes,
you know what I mean,
sometimes you're having regular conversations all the time. And I think that's another thing for me, like there's people that I speak to and speak to and speak to and just keep speaking to, and there's very little outcome. Whereas you have people that, what I used to love, and I remember some young people used to do that. I remember when somebody came to me once and said, Kemoy, I want to change my life, you know. I was like, wow.
Goosebumps.
Yeah, man. Honestly, like it was
nice.
Heartwarming,
that was nice, man.
Yeah, I just thought that is. The minute they said that, I said, right, okay, let's talk.
Start.
Yeah. And I think that's what we need more of, people that can actually be brave. That's the word, be brave and have courage and go, do you know what? I don't want to be like these man them.
Because that's what it takes. It takes you to prison won't change, you know. And I've said it to people before. You can go back and forth from jail till the penny drops, and you think, I've had enough. At that point, you're not going back to jail. You're not going back then. You can do as many courses as you want in there to try and pull the wool over people's eyes and so forth. They can force courses on you. Got to do this and that. It'll help you with this. It won't help you because you're not going to apply it because you have no interest in using them skills. You want to go back out to what you was doing. From experience with me, I remember the thought, I've had enough of this. I never went back, bro. It was finished for me. I decided this isn't for me. And it was looking at all the people on the wing and I'm thinking, how old are you? Oh, that don't look good. This is embarrassing, man, at this point. And you see, it's like a revolving door when you're if you spend a bit of time in there, you notice the same coming back up. It's the same face, the same guys, and you're like, you've been out a week, you've been out a month. It's like, what are you back for this time? And then it's like, this isn't good. And then when you're seeing your loved ones, Your mum never comes on a visit with a smile. She's happy to see you, but she's emotional. It's not nice, bro. And when the penny drops on that, change, it's goal time. But then it's down to the individual, man.
And this is what I mean.
You can
about
only
that.
assist.
It's about the mindset. It's about, look, do you want to see your mum suffer or dad suffer watching you like this? And I think you have some people that genuinely care, and some that genuinely don't care. And this is what we're battling with all the time.
If you don't care, there's no helping some people.
No, and there's no point in trying.
No point. You could spend that time with someone that really wants change.
No,
that's
what it is. Sometimes that you just think, you know what, there's some people that want the help, let's help them, but the ones that don't. And this is why sometimes, I think that's the thing with me now. I used to not preach, but I used to like spend a lot of time going out, speaking to young people, trying to get them to change their lives. And it gets to a point sometimes where you think, you know what, when they're ready, the ones that do want to change, then you're there for them.
Yeah, and they'll come to you.
Yeah.
Because of who you are and how they know you. They know when I'm ready. You'll be the first on their mind, but it's time. It takes that time for the penny to drop. But what I'd like to touch on, bro, is young Prince, because I know nephew, very close to him. As much as you're a youth worker and you've gone through it, losing a lot of young ones within my size, I imagine this one felt a little bit different. And if you could touch on that, because it's a whole different experience now. Man, tell me a bit about that, and more importantly, people that are watching, a bit about that.
No, thank you. Thanks for bringing that up. So obviously Prince lived with me and my mum in Moss Side for a long time, since 17 years of his life. Prince, like every young person, obviously wants to do well, but obviously often out with friends a lot and stuff. And I'm always honest with things like this because, I always used to sit down and talk to Prince, like I do any other young person as well, but more for him. Like really have those deep chats to him about obviously the road and just kind of being out there and stuff. But he's a good kid, really good kid. I loved Prince. And like I said, being my only boy nephew, obviously I was more protective of him because I just know with boys and just kind of being out there on the road. And obviously I always just worry as an uncle, you worry, you worry for them. So obviously 17 years Prince has been here and all's good. And then one day I'm driving to London and I get a phone call from someone in the community to say, your nephew's been stabbed. I didn't know what to think at the time because you just think like, what? Do you know what I mean? Your nephew's been stabbed bad. So I'm thinking in my head like, you're thinking, what's going on? Speechless, I don't know what to say, And it's at that time my phone's ringing, other people, when someone else is calling, you can hear the beep in the background. So I'm getting more people calling me. So I'm saying, this has got to be like, definitely real. Do you know what I mean? Because multiple people are calling me. As soon as I finish speaking to that person, my phone's just ringing, Snapchat's calling me, WhatsApp's calling me, normal phone's calling me, Instagram's calling me. And I'm thinking, this isn't good at all. And I was on my way to London. So obviously at the time I was in a service station. I had to I don't even know what I did then with the food or whatever I was getting, but I had to just run in the car and I had to just come back to Manchester. But at the time, as I'm coming, people are calling me, and I just can't. I don't want to answer nobody because I'm thinking I don't want to hear what I think I'm going to hear.
He's kind of hiding from it in a way.
I think that was there was that stage where it was like I didn't even. Yeah, it was just at that point where I was like,
you knew.
I didn't want to answer. You know what? Because I know I rang his mum and sister, and I rang my sister and his mum. Prince's. I rang my sister and Prince's sister. And I told them the news. They obviously was like screaming, whatever, and they had to get to the hospital and stuff. But I was communicating with just them. For now, I thought I don't really want to hear from anybody else at that point. So I got the updates that obviously air ambulance had to come, normal ambulance came, and they brought him to the hospital to obviously work on him. So as I'm driving now, I'm thinking, oh my God, I need to get back to Manchester. Every obstacle in the way of the speed thing up there saying 40, this Q trap, and I'm like,
far out as well, was it miles from Manchester?
And I'm thinking time is going, and then obviously sister called me, and like you said, I just knew. I knew from then. The minute she called me, she said, he's gone. That was it. I thought from then. I had to pull up on the service station, and when I said I've never cried the way I cried, honestly, I had to cry the way I cried. Like, and I think I rang 2 friends to like really find a bit of comfort, and you know, they were like, Kemoy, like, pull over, man, pull up, like, oh my God, where are you? I'll come and get you now. I said, I'm too far. I said, I'm gonna come, but I'm crying. I had to get back on the normal motorway, but as I'm driving, I can't see because tears are just coming and coming. And it just wasn't a good experience at all. I got back to Manchester, obviously at the time, family and other people were at the hospital, comforting my sister and his sister, and I've never experienced something like that. Obviously I've dealt with situations where we've lost people and I've been there for the family, but when it's your own, you know, and then I got to the hospital. I think I just dropped as soon as I got in there and seen people. That's when it hit me again, and I was like, this is real. So, it was tough. It was tough. To lose a nephew at that age was tough, and his birthday was 6 days later. So it was tough. But the minute it happened, like I said, the family, we had some time to really like come together and like just comfort each other. And then the following day, we did like a memorial where we knew people wanted to like pay the respect. And we organized like a memorial where everyone came. Everyone came, from youth workers to other family members to his friends, and we had the best support in the world from so many people. But when I reflect and think about it, and this is what I'm saying to people that are watching, young people that are watching, like when people speak, you just need to listen. And I always say this because it's so important. Like, I was that uncle that would speak to Prince, speak at Prince, and really let him understand life, the community. And I think sometimes with young people, you know, and I'm not just saying this about Prince's mindset, but I'm saying like a lot of young people will always think they know it all and they know everything, and we can't tell them, and they know it. And when it comes to the time when something happens, you see they're the ones that come back and go, right, you know what, we should have listened. We should have listened. And a lot of people know that with Prince, I was that uncle that was always on him, made sure I dropped him to school. He was, you know, all the rest. He's completed 5 years of his school life. He did everything, college, construction. He did everything I asked him to do. But at the same time, I was always just worried. I was just always worried. I think being a boy child on the street, every day with your friends, I was always worried. And I always said to Prince, one day I fear that phone call. I always said that to him. I said, I don't know what phone call it might be. It might be one that says, your friends and you have been arrested, or ones that said that you're gone.
Why do you think you felt like that, or do you think that's kind of just knowing, like, being from my side, having that so many experiences with young ones, or was it's dead easy to just label kids to be gang members and that, but that sort of, you know, I was his age, but that interested me, being involved in that sort of stuff. Did it interest him in a way where he wanted to be around the lads and be involved in that, or was he literally hands off and just, because what I find with a lot of these kids now, a lot of it's not gang related, they're just wild with knives. They're not always in gangs, as you know. They carry them for protection. Some of them carry them to go out there and cause problems. Was it like, do you have an understanding of why it happened, or is it just one of them unfortunate?
See, the thing is with Prince, he was a good kid. He was respectful. Like there's no. I think he knows when I'm upset with him, and I think he'll always try. And I think that was the good thing I like about him. He'll always try to win me back or win me over, by doing the right things. And I think I never hear anything outside from anyone that says, like everyone that always used to speak to me used to say, wow, Prince is your nephew. He's like, it's really respectful when I see him. Or if I see him and I know he's not doing the right thing, if he sees me, like he'll switch up and he'll be like, make sure you lot respect auntie. And that's what I used to hear, and I used to be proud of that. Do you know what I mean? But at the same time, I'm not blind to the fact that Prince was a lad that just liked to be on the road with his boys.
Not wrong with that at that age, man. Like I say, I was guilty of it myself. It's at that age, it's what you want to do.
And that's the thing sometimes you see. I think for me, it was more the worry.
Yeah.
That it was just out there. It's that uncle's worry. It's like a parent's worry that when they're out there, you don't know what they're doing.
And you know what, as at that age, you go out there sort of, you're not blind to it, but you're fearless. Fear is a good thing. I say to people, fear is good, man. Fear will keep you in check. Fear will keep you out of trouble. But sometimes when you're a young teen, you are literally fearless. So you don't think of scenarios happening. You don't think of the consequences. You're just out there, wild, free. Do you know what I mean? You're older. You're going to fear the worst.
And I think, for me, I think this is where I'm like, there's a lot more work that needs to be done with the youths on things like knife crime. Like obviously, it was just unlucky for Prince because it was wrong place, wrong time. That's what it is for many of our young people.
It is, yeah, of course it is.
That education and that real life that a lot of these young people, they need it. They need people who can share, right, look, I done this and I've got life and now I can't get parole and I can't get this. Like they're not hearing enough of that to deter them away from carrying knives. And I think obviously since we lost Prince, like obviously I've been doing a lot of work at the youth club around knife crime, getting people to come in and talk, but also personal experiences. People have come in and cried and really like told the young people like, look, like I've lost my son or I've lost this person because of knife crime. Like you need to understand how serious it is. So my thing now is about education with young people on knife crime. Like I'm even doing it with school in the next 2 weeks. We've got some people coming in to chat to them about knife crime. Like we're hearing stories all the time of young people, younger now, 14-year-old, losing their life to knife crime. So it's a big thing.
Scary stuff, man.
It is scary, but it's a big thing. And the way I see it, there's a lot of young people who desensitize is a word, but also it's cool for them.
Exactly. That's like what I was saying. It is cool at that age.
They want to carry a knife. I spoke to a young person the other day, and they were like, I bought a knife for protection. And when he said that to me, the way he said it, just brave. I had to really be like, I was like, do you understand the impact of carrying a knife? He didn't get it. So I had to like really talk to him about it. So it made me realize a lot of them just need that workshop education on knife crime.
Knives are so dangerous because they're so accessible.
Very.
And I don't think a lot of young ones understand the damage they're causing. It'd be quite easy to just be going at it with a knife and not realising what you're doing, the damage you're inflicting. Like I've spoke to young ones and we've compared knives and guns. I know it sounds mad, but because in comparison like this is your times were worse, you had guns, and I'm saying no, why your times are worse is if someone goes out there with a gun, they're a little bit more cautious of what they're doing, where they're going to do it, and they almost scare themselves when it starts banging and smoking. It's go time now. You lot don't realise when you're going in there with this quiet, it's knife, it's very quiet, so because it's not all erratic and making noises, you don't realise the pain and the damage you're causing, where a gun now, what's around it, the noise, it makes people think this is bad, not as accessible. Knives are a lot more dangerous than a gun. So much more dangerous. But it's mad how kids think that guns are worse. I disagree with that. I've had conversations and it's almost like point scoring. No, your time's with, and I'm like, no. It's dangerous. Knives are the worst.
I think the fact to kill somebody, I think sometimes people, they're not realising that that's a life. Like
that's what they need to think, innit?
Yeah, and I think Prince's story is a good example of young people that carry knives, the impact is you get life, and that's what's happened. So now people will be able to read and go, right, like that person that done that, now they've got life, and they won't get parole, and they'll be on the register, and the life's gone. That's it. That's for life, you know.
It's mad though, because I don't think that scares them, bro. And do you know why? Coming back to young artists, I've seen so many rappers do it and put it on a song the next day in a detailed.
Yeah.
Like you almost want people to, obviously no, you don't have to tell me that's what you was doing. You wanted people to know what you did. If the average teenager can listen to that and know exactly what you did, police officers, that's their job. You're caught. You know you go into jail. So what goes? It's
mind blowing.
I don't know. I don't know the answers to it. It's like it's cool to them. They want to sort of say, I did this, and I'm going to rap about this. I don't want to start blaming rap music on stabbings and that, but it's. I've got ears. I see. I hear. A lot of the young drill artists still. I believe they almost want to do it so that they can rap about it and not be considered a cat rapper. Rip me to bits in the comments if I'm wrong. It's all up for debate, but it seems like that. I'm only saying what I see, but a lot of people want to be considered real at that age. What is real? What is fake? Does real make you going out there and finding someone that you disagree with and inflicting pain on them? Because I remember my thoughts at that age, and what you consider is real is fucking crazy, bro. Real is basically as bad as you can be in a way. Do you know what I mean? When you're in that walk of life, and then you know as you get older, the word real, just forget the word, man. Do you know what I mean? But it is scary. You could sit here all night talking, and it's.
I'm scared. No, not as in like scared personally, but I mean like I'm scared in terms of for the youths, in terms of this generation, in terms of I just worry. I worry, and my phone's always like worrying me, because anytime I see things or I get a phone call, I'm always thinking the worst, or always thinking, oh my God, what's happened now? And the minute I see multiple people try to ring me, that's when I get even more worried, because I think, what's going on?
That'll never leave you. That's almost PTSD, bro, in a way.
Yeah, it's been tough. It was tough. But like I said, like I had some great people that have been supportive. I'm glad I was able to speak to young people. I think that was the best in terms of me speaking to a large group of young people that I wouldn't normally see come to youth club. When we had the memorial for Prince, we had 2, and we had like a night where we had like a bit of a, we call it like a celebration in Jamaica. We call it a 9 night, where we get together 9 days after somebody dies, and we celebrate their life. But there was multiple times where I was able to get on the mic and talk to these young people about knives and about doing things with their lives, and they listen to their opinion drop. I was on roadside where everyone was crowded in Moss Side, and like everyone was just quiet, and I was just talking at them.
Was that a nice feeling? Even though it was a negative time, was that a nice feeling to know like you're actually listening?
Yeah, when I said I was like Big Brother Kemoy B, I was like literally ripping at them at just like knife, and like, look at this, look, you've lost your friend, my sister's lost her son, I've lost my nephew, because you guys are out there carrying knives. And like I said, since then, I've not seen or heard of any other knife crime in Moss Side since April last year, from like, I don't know, like young people, especially Prince's age. So I'm hoping that the message, a lot of them got the message, and just deter themselves from carrying a knife. I know it's still happening in the UK. I know London's got a huge issue at the moment, but I think us in Manchester, like a lot of people are working really hard on knife crime to really, really look into it and educating people.
No, yeah, that's what it is. It's education, and if you can get to that point with
that's
people
why
and
youth
make
clubs
them,
are important.
yeah, they are, yeah.
And there's not many around.
Can make them think. I know it's crazy.
And imagine if we had it compared to 2002 up until 2011, because that's when they cut youth clubs in 2011-12. Like, if youth clubs are still running, oh my God. Imagine
they are impactful.
Yeah.
But you know, it's who's running the youth clubs.
That's true.
You need good youth workers, because I feel like a lot of the people in charge of the money who fund these things, they'll come around and think, it's just a room with pool tables in it for people to congregate. No one's actually trying to speak to any of these youth. You will see that a lot. I've been to loads of youth clubs as a kid, and that's where it was. And then you go to a good, and it's like, oh, all right then. Like, listen, I'm being spoken to. What else is scary about knives, bro? when we was younger, it's specific areas. Have you not noticed now, bro? It's literally nationwide.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
not like that's a nice area. I'll bring my kids up
Yeah,
there. No, it
yeah,
doesn't work like that anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
It's scary.
True. Yeah, I'm seeing that massively. Now, as well, like you said, back then it was postcode wars and all these things where a man would come on another man's estate and that's it. But like you said, it's happening nationally now where you're hearing it every day. When I heard about the boy in London and I heard about the nurse who was stabbed as well, you just think like there's so much going on with knife crime that this was a topic that the government was speaking about even like before Prince, and they've had to revisit again. But it's like you think, are they giving the right funding to the right organisations? Are the right people doing enough work? Are there any organisations who are actually, that are being funded doing the actual work with knife crime? So I think there's so much to explore in terms of this topic, knife crime, in terms of, is there enough work being done? Because if there was, we still wouldn't be seeing an increase in knife crime.
There's definitely not enough, is there? It takes the people to step up and say, I'm prepared to do the work, though. It takes good people like yourself and others to say, I'm going to put the first foot forward, let's go, let's make a change. It's kind of loads of money in youth clubs, like we said. It doesn't mean they're going to be effective. I mean, it's still a nice place to get kids off the roads and, you know, they've got somewhere to go of an evening on these, you know, these winter nights, but you need youth workers to really speak to them and speak their language.
Yeah, I agree with you.
If there's any young ones watching, you know, because I know there'll be young ones watching that probably sort of watching from a, considering still doing what they're doing, because we've got to be realistic. But for the ones that may be watching thinking they've got a point, if there is someone watching now, what would you say to them?
I think that's a good question. I feel like there's a lot I could say, but I think if I was to kind of really give some advice, it would be, look, you're all capable of doing amazing stuff with your lives. There is nothing from carrying a knife. There's nothing equally as well from carrying a gun or anything like that, because what you'll find is you'll see the same thing that you see happening to people who do carry those things, which is you'll go to prison, you probably definitely won't get parole. When you come back out, getting a job is very, very slim of happening anyway, because you're on tag or curfew or whatever for life, you know. So do you really want to go through that? You know, I always say, look, you can listen to myself or not listen, but I've got personal experience where, you know, I mean, it's happened to me. I've lost my nephew to knife crime. You know, I've had conversations with my nephew, you know, and stuff like that. So I'm telling you now, like, what we're saying as elders or people that are older from you is it's important you listen. But also at the same time, we're there to advise you, we're there to support, we're there to guide you. So never forget that we are here to also support you with anything that you're going through as well. Because I think that's important, that you open up and you talk. If there's a reason why you're carrying a knife, like I said, the young man said to me he's carrying it for protection. Like, come and have a chat with us, and we can obviously advise you, give you the best advice, support you in whatever way that we can. But I think talk to somebody before you let something escalate. Talk to somebody about it, and we'll support the best way we can.
I think that's a nice way to summarise everything we've just said. But you know what I want to just go back in on, because it come to my mind when you were saying then. Also, do you remember many years ago when I got out of prison when I was young? I would say I was on my making a change now. I'm trying to sort my life out. Listen to this. You put me in for, I can't remember where it was in Piccadilly Gardens, somewhere I'd go, get an opportunity to get in a job. As soon as I walked through the door, they asked me a bit about me. I'd been to jail, they turned me around on the spot. I'm not saying that's right. What I'm trying to highlight is it's very hard. I rang you and you was really upset about it, because these are people that have reached out to you as a youth worker to get young ones into work. Now, because I've just got out of prison, the first thought was, you turn back through the door. Did they even hear me out? They didn't read my CV. They assisted me. I could have been in there for nicking a bag of sweets. But their first thought was, you've been to jail, you're no good for this. So when you're saying it gets harder, getting a job and stuff, look at that for a scenario.
Yeah. And it's things like this that, like you said, perfect, spot on. You've hit the nail on the head in terms of people need to understand. the impacts and the after bit and the outcomes afterwards, that getting a job will be slim. Telling somebody you've gone to prison and they hear that, they definitely don't want to employ you. I think people, once they hear something like that, they're like, nope, we don't want them. Even if it could be the pettiest thing on your DBS. I've seen it happen.
They don't know,
where
do
I've seen schools turn people down because when they were young, like age 11, they stole a bike, but obviously reflected on that afterwards. And obviously now an adult, but I've seen so many experiences where things like that have happened and they can't get good jobs. You know, so it's really important, like you said then. I really think people need to think.
Of course it makes it hard. It's even when, forget all this equal opportunities and that, it's great if you stand on it, but it's just a box ticking exercise sometimes for a lot of these companies. We're dealing with the person, and it's the person, if there's someone that's stereotyped or they don't want someone like representing their company, whatever they've got in the window, it doesn't matter, does it? If the person in front of you doesn't like the sound of prison or like equal opportunities and that, they're not even going to hurt you out. So just bear that in mind, man. Man, I think we should wrap it up there then, bro. Let's not give them too much. We want to keep you engaged. Where can the young ones and the old ones find you?
Do you know what? I'm easily accessible because I DJ a lot, so I'm always everywhere anyway. But everything's just Kemoy Walker. Like if you go on Google and type in Kemoy Walker, I've got a website on there, so you'll find it's the first thing that pops up. You can check that out, and it's got all the details of how to contact me, social media wise. But Twitter, Instagram, I try and make sure I'm on everything because I know some young people, they say Twitter's for like old people. You know when you speak to them, Facebook's is like for old people. Instagram, obviously, a lot of them now, even the younger ones now, are saying, I'm not even on Instagram anymore. That's for like other generations, Whereas Snapchat, so I'm on everything. A lot of the things I do, I post positive stuff all the time on my Facebook. If you go on there, you just see quotes. People just love it. They're like, yep, real talk. This has really picked me up today. Same with Snapchat. All I really do on there is post my DJing and little bits of messages, weekly messages I give. Like I'll do one tomorrow after gym. But just like, you can find me on social media. I'm easily to find. But if anybody wants to talk, you want to open up, you want to come to Powerhouse and see me there, like, I'm all ears. I would rather young people come to me and say, Kemoy, I want to change my life. That for me is impactful work because I know then that's things I want to hear more of and help them on that journey to do that.
Yeah, man. That's it, bro.
Thank you for having me as well.
Kemoy, and this is who he is.
Yep.
But thank you for coming on, bro. I just want to highlight, you wonder why I keep pulling up my pants, guys? I got my polka dot socks on today. I just want to show you so you don't rip me and say, check him trying to hide them socks. These are my gym socks today. Brother, thank you so much for
you're welcome. You're welcome.
It's been a pleasure,
man. Man, you're welcome.
Next time, guys.
1992, my mama had me in July. I was raised in Bricky, wish she raised me in Dubai. Started having fights, I think I started age 9. Started doing crime, I started stealing all the time. I was stealing from the sweet.